Hello, and welcome to another great episode of Royal Black and Elite. I am your lecturer and social historian, Lady TrenettWilson. Thank you, everyone, for joining me today. And today's lecture, as always, is going to be interesting as we close out the month. We want to look at one of the first self made billionaires in our country and the network BET. Now, Black entertainment television has been around since 1980. It began as a 2 hour weekly program playing on Nickelodeon. Now, MTV launched in 1981. And no matter what you feel about BET throughout the years, you can say it has kept a Black presence on television. Not always positive, however, and a lot of changes came about, especially after the owner sold it. So let's get into our story. Again, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I can't tell you all how that helps the video go through the algorithm. So I really do greatly appreciate you. Now, in 1983, BET became a full fledged network, becoming the first television network aimed at Black America. The channel began with music videos and sitcoms featuring all the Black celebrities. Good Times, Martin, y'all, BET would run reruns over and over again of Black sitcoms. I can remember shows like Teen Summit, which ran from 1989 to 2002, Black College Football from 1981 to 2005, and of course the spinoffs of BET Hip Hop and BET Gospel. And I want to shout out Bobby Jones Gospel. My daughter, Kiki Perez, who was a singer, a gospel singer, got her start on Bobby Jones Gospel when she was only 9 years old. Go, Kiki. So, BET holds a special place in my heart because it gave my daughter an opportunity, but it also gave Black people a picture of what Black wealth looks like. And not only that, after they sold BET, oh, I just cannot wait to tell you. Now, Sheila Johnson, who is the co founder of BET and Robert Johnson's wife, she said she wanted BET to be the ebony on screen. Basically, I paraphrased a bit, but she wanted to bring Jet and Ebony, the beauty of the Blackness in those magazines, alive. And so that's why BET was launched. I remember when they had lifestyle shows. They also had shows like BET Nightly News with Ed Gordon that ran from 2001 to 2005. I can remember watching Ed Gordon. Do you all remember? Did y'all ever watch BET 106 in Park with Free and AJ and Big Tigger on Rap City? These were some of their biggest shows. Now, my daughter blew my mind the other day because she said, "Mama, you're doing a video on the owner of BET. Everybody knows that's Mona Scott." Mona Scott is the founder of the Housewives franchise, but the founder of BET was Robert Johnson and his wife, Sheila Johnson. They worked together to bring this business from a small broadcasting business to a juggernaut. So let's begin with a little bit about Mr. Johnson. He was born in 1946 in Hickory, Mississippi. He was the ninth of 10 children, but the family moved when he was young to Freeport, Illinois. He graduated from high school with honors and he received his bachelor's degree in social studies in 1968 from the University of Illinois. And that's where he met Mrs. Johnson. His wife was born on January the 25th, 1949, in McKeesport, Pennsylvania, to a wealthy family. Her father was a neurosurgeon and her mother was an accountant. So it wasn't anything broke about Miss Sheila Johnson. She was a cheerleader in high school and she graduated from the University of Illinois Urbana campus. And that's where they met. Now, the two would marry in 1969, and together they shared two children, Brett and Paige. Only 2 years after founding BET, it became the first Black controlled company listed on the New York Stock Exchange. And in 1998, Johnson and Liberty Media bought the outstanding shares of BET, giving Johnson 42% of the ownership, which would also go up. So, again, lessons that we can learn from these moves. He said Johnson and the Liberty Media Company, which means he set up an LLC outside of himself. Now, when it first began to be syndicated and broadcast all across the nation, it went into 4.5 million homes. And by the time it was sold in 2001, it went into 62 million homes. And CNN Money reported that Johnson owned 63% of the stock. The company was sold for a reported $3 billion, with Johnson walking away with over $1 billion. But let me tell you, in 2001 was a rough year too, because it was the same year that he and his wife, who had been married for 32 years, were divorced. Now, Sheila walked away with over $400 million. And through savvy investments in this beautiful salamander resort and also golf resorts in Florida and across the country, she has grown her 400 million into reportedly $750 million. Now, Mr. Johnson hadn't done bad either. He has grown his money through ownership of the Jets, private equity, real estate, and banking, and it said that he is now worth over $1 billion. Now, here come the mess. Here you have a company who was birthed out of the minds and heart of a husband and wife company, and they built it up, and they were divorced reportedly because he kind of had a wandering eye. And he had a relationship, a long term relationship, with one of BET's top executives named Deborah Lee. But you know what? Actually, Sheila kind of got the last laugh because she married the judge who presided over their divorce. Now, Robert would marry again, but it didn't last long. He married him a little lady who was 36 years younger than him, and they were divorced like 3 years later. So that is the story of Robert and Sheila Johnson's, owner of BET. If you were to turn on BET today, you would think it was the Tyler Perry network because it has a lot of Tyler Perry shows. They even have the BET streaming network, which also has a lot of Tyler Perry shows. So BET is still yet alive. It is still moving on. It was sold to Viacom, so it is no longer black owned. So, what did you think about BET? Where do you fall? Did you think it was positive for black people or negative? What I will say, I think they had some positive things and they had some negative things. But now you can't really take it seriously to get news and information for black people because, again, it just entertains. It just does reruns all of the time. So I hope you enjoyed my lecture. And now you know that BET was founded by Robert Johnson and his wife instead of Mona Scott, and kind of the drama that broke up the family and that ended their marriage, but they both individually became successful in the end. So I hope that you enjoyed it. Thank you for joining me, and we'll see you on another great episode of Royal Black and Elite. Don't forget, like, share, and subscribe, and leave me a comment. I want to know, what show did you love on BET? You all meet me next week. Also, remember, we're doing our Black Trivia. And thank you for joining me. And thank